Menja. Wapi makofi mazuri ya Eunice Menja. Karibu sana my sister. Ako na very big children home pale Murang'a. Nishaificha another day. Na nimekuambia nimeenda event zake miaka 2 Marekani, Oklahoma. Hakuna Mkenya mwingine ndani ya USA amefanya event imejaa wazungu more than 500 apart from this lady. Makofi mazuri kwake tafadhali. She has favor. See yeye, she has favor. She's changing lives. I mean, I respect you Eunice. Karibu sana. Makofi mazuri kwa Eunice tafadhali. 5 minutes ndio tuweze kwa hiyo session nyingine. Karibu sana.
I don't know what to say after Jeremy ametenderia sana. Without kutenderia, either that's tenderia mono. I'm humbled to be here. Amanyu no kone mwana nyona inoro ine gari horo amirimu ya meshiria no ananyona inoro ine. Tagwo ndagitari tukoragwo kimure kaigena wa ihora. Muthenya wa mothe or today gutukanie I'll try to mix gikuyu na githungu. Negwenda gucokeria Jane Gatho ni undu wa kuni-invite gikaro-ini giki. Ni uguo maigua njitagwo Eunice kana Dr. Eunice wa Muyo wa Menja. Family yakwa ya US ndina iritu eri me college na muthuru wakwa me kou. Twokire guko June. We have been here since June trying to talk to people about peace of mind. And when I find peace of mind anywhere in you know, in an event like this, I feel like we are heading the right direction. Peace of mind as in ando ne makoreto make gire kamono ni undu wa mirimo ya meshiria na Ngai akinduma guku nigetha hote gucenjia ruga iria twaragia tukiaria uhoro andu aria arwaru meshiria kana aria mena addiction. So that's why I've actually remained behind. But beyond that, I also have a children's home. And I want to tell you a little bit about the children's home. Because I don't have much time, let me go to the point. I have known Jane for over 5 years now. I came to know her through her sister Lillian, who lives in the US. Because when I am in the US, I run a mentorship program for the youth. So Lillian reached out to me and told me that she wanted me to mentor her daughter. So we grew in the relationship, and then she later introduced me to her sister, whom I have come to call my friend. We have grown very close with Jane, because Jane is not only a friend, she's a kind friend. She's very kind, she's generous, and everything that you could admire in a CEO. Like, you know, those CEOs that are usually untouchable, you know, they're unreachable. Sindio, so you have seen some of those. You can't even get near them, but Jane is she's very down to earth. I think when I'm talking here, I'm talking to my friends in diaspora, my family in diaspora, because I want to encourage them. As you have said from Jeremy, we have been conned. We have been made not to trust companies that sell land. But, you know, I'm also very hesitant when I endorse companies like that sell land or properties in Kenya, because I have not only been a victim, I know that I have friends whom have actually ended up, you know, losing their mind because of being conned. You know, you invest all your money, you bring all your savings to build a house for your retirement, and then when you get here, there is no house. And so there is a time that I went to visit a friend who was actually suffered a mental illness immediately after learning that she had invested all her livelihood here in Kenya, but in air. So I think the greatest characteristic that you can look for our CEO is humility, and that is who Jane is. Jane and the entire team of AMARA have also become my friends, and I'm going to tell you why. You know, I run a children's home in Murang'a, as Jeremy said. So when God asked me to return to Kenya, after I went to the US, I have lived in the US for 18 years. But in 2013, I came back and I started a children's home called Upendo. Because of the goodness and the kindness of CEO, their CEO, AMARA, that is Jane. We have become the recipient of that generosity. There are many CEOs that I have met on these streets, whether it is in the US or even in Kenya, and they run multi-million companies in this country or even elsewhere. But many of those CEOs have, they don't have a giving heart, like I would say that Jane has. A week before Christmas, that was in 2022, in December, Jane and the AMARA team, the entire AMARA team was at Upendo Kids Village. We call it Kids Village because we have a children's home that is close to us. And I thought that Jane and her team were just coming to visit, like regular visits, you know, just drop off some unga, some rice, and then run and go, because it's a busy month. But really what shocked me is that Jane, the CEO, came with her entire team very early in the morning on that day. They were ready to work. They wore their aprons all day, and they were cooking in the smoky kitchen at Upendo. They cooked and fed over 50 kids and our staff. So of course we ate their food for several days because it was plenty of food. So that tells you who you are dealing with. When I tell you about Jane's humility, that is the kind of humility that I'm talking about. They later donated a lot of food, which is, you know, things like dry foods like rice. I think we still are eating their food since then. And they brought for us over 70 chairs to put in our new hall that we are building. You see why I'm calling Jane generous? This January, at Upendo Children's Home, I had 9 children that were going to Form 1. How many people know what is the cost of putting a child in Form 1 here in Kenya? How much? About 100,000. And so I was wondering and asking God, why did all my kids do still class 8? I mean, yeah, 8 of them. That is excluding the 6 children that were joining junior secondary school. And of course, other children that were already in high school. So I also have 2 children that decided to repeat their KCP. So that is telling you how many kids were going back to school. So Jen started pestering me in WhatsApp. And she said, I want to sponsor a kid at Upendo to go to high school. And actually, I forgot, because I have so many people that text me. Because when I go to Inoro, I have weirdo people texting me, you know, just so many messages. So I had missed her message, but she kept texting me back. And when I told her that I had 5 children that had not been sponsored yet, I'm about taking a moment because I'm being emotional. So my friend Jane came through. And she said, I will sponsor all of them. And that's why I am very brave. As much as we have been conned and taken advantage of, I am telling my diaspora community, and I'm urging them to invest in AMARA. Kenya is my home. Even when I left the US, I never forgot the people that suffer in this country without help. So I take it personal to say that no matter how many deficits that our country has, there's no home like Kenya. There's no home like our home. So you have to come back and invest. And the right place and the right people to invest with is AMARA. My favorite quote, of course, is by a woman, because I am a woman. The woman was my role model ever since I was a young girl, growing up in a small village in Mokoraine, Nyeri. I really admired this woman. Her name is Wangari Maathai. It is not a coincidence that AMARA CEO is a woman. It is by divine grace. Divine. I'm from Nyeri, so I'm shrubbing a little bit. As you have heard, Jen has already been named the Woman of the Year Jane has already been given an inspiring award, which is very rare for an industry that is male-dominated. Women have always been very important in the ministry. You know that because Jesus would not have done a lot of the things that he did without the women that were backing them up. So sometimes I feel like, you know, when I am doing my ministry and people like Jane coming to help our children, it's like those women that supported Jesus' ministry. For a village girl like me, we continue to stand on the shoulders of the women that were brave enough to try difficult tasks. And when I talk about difficult tasks, Jane, I'm talking about the task that you have now. Because when people entrust you with their millions of money to get them a plot where they can build a house where they raise children, that is a very, very difficult task. In our country, Kenya, of course, the boy child is in danger. And you all know that because addiction is on the rise, is spreading like wildfire. That is what we are trying to fight. I keep hearing from the strong men today how they say the women that were in their lives and how they impacted their future today. Jeremy is an example. His name is Jeremy DAMARIS because he was raised by a woman. I don't know how many times I pay something in a shop, you know, like a lot of money. And on my M-Pesa, it comes up, karaoke, wajiko. You know, we're talking about women are very, very important. This is what Wangari Maathai said. I don't really know why I care so much, but I have something inside me that tells me that there is a problem and I have got to do something about it. I think that is what I would call the God in me. Of course, keep resting well, Wangari Maathai. In reference to Wangari's quote, buying a plot from a company like AMARA is such a good thing to do. It is such a good thing to do, not only because you're going to earn land, but also because the money that you give to AMARA, it gets you a plot, and it also goes to care so much for people. We all have different ways of caring. Whatever you do, put your money where your heart is. But Jane puts all her projects in God's hands. We just opened this ceremony with praise and worship. You saw Pastor Kate even anointing this land. So that means we are safe in God's hands. Ecclesiastes, that one, chapter 11, verse 2 says, put your investments in several places. Many places even, because you never know what kind of bad luck you are going to have in this world. This is from the Bible, okay? So if you think that your investment is in America, I'm sorry. Things can go bad in the world. So you have to come back and invest in your home. To close, and speaking to those of you who are watching all over the world, there's nothing wrong in investing in different parts of the world. I have a house in the US, but now I am here in Kenya. And I'm here looking into having a house here at AMARA Gardens. For your peace of mind. This plot will also give me a peace of mind. It might cost 1.5, but let me tell you, Kenya's land value has never stopped rising. In 2018, when we wanted to move Upendo Children's Home to Juja, we went to Moranga, a very, very dry place, and we were buying land at 1.1 million an acre. Today, the same land cost about 3.8 million. How many years are those since 2018? We built Upendo Kids Village. That is where AMARA had come to visit. If you're there, and probably you know Jeremy or any other people, but if you're close to me, that is why probably you are on my Facebook live. Ask me particular questions about AMARA Gardens, because I have stepped on this land and I am here. I am right here And I'm going to tell you all the good things about it because I have walked around from corner to corner, and I know that this is where I'm going to build my next home. Because of how much you have been conned, I know you're skeptic. You're skeptical. I know. I usually don't like endorsing land companies, but for AMARA, I will, and I will do it over and over with no fear or favor. AMARA CEO, Jen is genuine. She's not just making wealth, she's changing lives. When your money comes to AMARA, it buys you a piece of land for your retirement home, and it also goes to pay school fees like it is currently doing for our children at Upendo. To all the clients that have invested in AMARA, may God blessings fill your lives and homes. To AMARA team that work day and night, I wish you God's favor in all that you do. Congratulations on your 2nd anniversary. And to the most inspiring realtor, CEO, no fear, no limits. Keep rising.
AMARA Realty, for your peace of mind.